In 1927 at a bar called Harry's Cocktail Bar in Paris. Now, this is probably in the 5 most famous cocktail bars, maybe even the most famous in the history of cocktails. Now, Harry basically was there's something that called Prohibition happens in America. And Harry is a bartender running in a popular bar in, I believe, New York City, and suddenly he's not allowed to serve alcohol anymore, so he goes and he sets a bar up in Paris. And lots and lots of famous people start frequenting his bar. People like Coco Chanel, very, very famous bar, created monstrous amounts of classic cocktails. Now, the Boulevardier is actually one of the guests at the actual bar. He had a magazine that came out once a month called the Boulevardier. So that is how the cocktail got its name. It's named after a magazine. The original recipe for this cocktail is 30 mils, or basically 1 ounce of bourbon, 1 ounce of Campari, 1 ounce of Martini Rosso. However, here we are going to make the recipe slightly different. I prefer personally 30 mils of bourbon, 20 mils of Martini Rosso, 20 mils of Campari. We're using good quality bourbon, not cheap stuff, which was basically what was mainly getting over to Paris back in those days during Prohibition. And a lot of it was actually American whiskey. It was just as commonly made with rye whiskey as what it was with bourbon. In fact, the original recipe, I believe, just has American whiskey. As you can see, I put a chunk of ice in the glass already. So I'm just going to take a mixing glass. Yeah, fill that up with ice. Then I've added 30 mils of bourbon, Buffalo Trace in this case. I'm going to add in 20 mils of Martini Rosso and 20 mils of Campari. Now, this cocktail originally went to print in 1927. It was actually created earlier than that. And look, the original story that I was told was that one of the bartenders at Harry's went back to Italy and created the Negroni. However, I was just double checking my facts last night, and that doesn't actually quite match up with what I was reading on all the websites. So I guess history changes over time. But originally, I was told that this predated the Negroni by about 20 years. Now there's actually debate which one came first. So originally from Harry's American Cocktail Bar in Paris, the Boulevardier.
What year was it?
1927. There we go.